Well, good afternoon. Oh my goodness, my voice. Oh dear. So, last week I talked about the past. This week I want to talk about the present. That's a train nearby. Anyway, I've been thinking a lot about the past, present, and the future. And as I said last week, that the past is really, really important. It's not something that we should just ignore or try and get over. I think we need to embrace it. So that was kind of the essence of last week. So this week I want to talk about the present. And one of the biggest things that I find is that we miss so much because we're distracted, because there are so many things we think we need to do, and they've got to get done, and we don't have enough time, and so we get really, really badly distracted. And the unfortunate thing about that is that we miss so much that could enrich our lives. So, for example, I just, you may think this is really kind of silly, but I love being in the country. I love the sights and the sounds and the smells out here. And no, we don't have dairy farmers any close to us anymore, so we don't have manure smells anymore like we used to. I'm not talking about those smells. But just the sights and sounds of what's going on around me right now, even if I only take a moment, just a moment, to listen and to smell and to hear. I hear different birds, and the other thing is too, I hear different birds. I hear the train just whistle just went off again as it went to the next crossing. I hear the flap of the flag in the breeze. I hear the wind in the trees. And what do I see? I see grass is horribly long and must be cut. But what I see is the wind going through the grass. And it just does this. This morning we woke up and there was just a light dusting of fog over the over one of the local fields here that's got hay in it. But the hay, because the sun was at a certain point, the hay was actually just glistening. It looked like silver, as my husband put it. He woke up and he looked out and he said, "Hey, the field looks like silver." So, of course, I got up and I looked, and sure enough, it did. It looked just like silver. It was beautiful. Now, it only took a moment, but it was a moment to be here, to be present, to look and to see, right? To actually, we can look at things and not get anything out of it, but we need to see, we need to look at these things and take them in. Because there's so much you miss. When you're talking to people, for a while, I would put my phone down on the table, face down, because I thought that made it look like I really wasn't paying attention to it. But what I realized is I was still distracted. How could I really understand what my friend was saying to me if I was distracted? And so what I started doing was putting it in my pocket or in my purse, or putting it where I couldn't see it. But not only that, is I turned my phone off, because not off, but the ringer off, because I didn't want to be distracted. I didn't want the conversation to be distracted by that phone ringing. And I'll tell you an instance. It was kind of funny. I was sitting with a friend and we were having lunch, and I had my phone sitting on the table face down. I did not have my ringer off at that point in time because I didn't, in my mind, I didn't know better, right? Didn't think about it. And the phone went off. The ringer went off. And I just, pushed the button to say that I wasn't going to answer it. And this was right in the middle of a conversation. She was speaking to me, and and the phone went off, and I basically ignored it. I still had to do something to turn it off, or to say no, but which I can do on my phone or on my wristwatch. I can just dismiss it. But it was enough of a distraction that her comment to me was, "Aren't you going to answer that?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, it rang." And I said, "Yes, it did." And I dismissed it. She said, "Well, don't you think you should answer it?" And I said, "No, I don't think I should answer it." And she said, "Why?" And I said, "Because I'm listening to what you're saying." And she said, Oh. And she said, "What were we talking about?" And I could tell her what we were talking about. But we both got very distracted for a short period of time when we could have had a little more time discussing things, because very shortly after that, she had to leave. And so we didn't necessarily get in all the conversation that we might have wanted to get in. We missed, that moment of continued back and forth, because it got disrupted. When you're working on a, say a project, and you're sitting at your desk and you've got your phone beside you and it rings, well, of course, you're going to get distracted. You're going to answer it. Or even if you try to ignore it, you still can't. You still get distracted, and it causes you to lose track of what you're doing in front of you. Okay, yeah, you can get back to it. But there's a time delay that is created between the time when you're working away intensely, you get distracted, now you've got to come back and try and figure out where you're at again. And it may take only a moment, but the point is it's lost its velocity, it's lost its speed, it's lost its continuity, and therefore you've lost time. So to me, it's just incredibly, incredibly important to stay in the moment. I just saw a chipmunk run by. I was distracted. You probably saw my eyes flip off to the side. So I probably shouldn't be outside when I do these, because I do get distracted by the noises and this, the sights and the sounds. I've often showed you the hummingbird feeder and how it comes around, and sometimes there are three, and one is very aggressive and very noisy and very vocal. There's another one that is just slightly vocal, can be aggressive at times, but settles down. And then there's a smaller one that comes and just kind of hovers as it, and is very distracted. Gets a bit and then back out, gets a bit and backs out. It's very, very distracted. And it's so funny to watch them. And they can get pretty close sometimes. But anyways, my point being is, it's so important to be in the present, to be present in the present. And your life can be so much more enriched, and you become a present or a gift to others who are present. And anyway, I just think it's super important. We think we need to do a lot of things that we don't need to do. And I think we need to spend more time being present than the distractions that we get caught up in. Just my thought, just my musings. I'll be sending out an email to anyone who's on my list. If you would like to receive weekly emails, then subscribe to 1000island.coach@gmail.com. Just email me, let me know you're interested. You can go on our website and find it. You can go on Facebook, I think, and find it as well. But if you'd like to subscribe, go for it. So usually what I'm talking about here on Wednesdays, On Friday, out goes an email to kind of flesh things out a little bit. And yeah, so next week, guess what we're going to talk about? Oh, I'm sure you've got it figured out. The past, the present, the future. Yep. Anyway, enjoy your day. Have a lovely day. And we'll talk to you soon. If you watch this on replay, #replay. Thanks. See ya. Bye-bye.